Okay, I've made posts about this on my channel before, but I'm gonna talk about it again because it keeps happening. And not only does it piss me off, but it can actually be pretty harmful. And that is people who continuously assume that every autistic person has ADHD. Let me tell you, about a third to half of autistic people, okay? A third to half of autistic people do not have ADHD, okay? But what we do have a lot of the time is trauma, is autistic burnout. And guess what? A lot of these things cause very similar traits to ADHD. So when someone is saying, I have trauma, this causes this, I'm in autistic burnout, this causes this, and you're like, it's just ADHD. That's incredibly dismissive, actually, and invalidating. And as someone who has a lot of trauma and has had my reality erased throughout my life by various people who knew better, I get incredibly triggered. And yes, this is a trauma response right now. I get super triggered when someone on the internet pretends to know better about the person in question, even though they just said it's trauma or it's autistic burnout and they never mentioned the possibility of being ADHD. Maybe they are ADHD. I'm not saying they're not. I'm saying stop disrespecting and erasing their reality. Okay? It's incredibly dismissive. Imagine if you were saying, I have pneumonia and it causes me to cough. I don't know, I'm not a specialist. And then someone was like, no, sounds like asthma, actually. Like, no, I've been diagnosed by a doctor as having pneumonia. That would be so disrespectful, right? So why do you do that? Why is it okay to do that with neurodivergence? When someone says, I have trauma and it causes this symptom, and you're like, sounds like ADHD. Do you know what it says to the person? It says you don't know your reality. You don't know yourself. I know yourself better than you. Knowing nothing about you besides a couple things that you decided to share on the internet, but I know better. You know, and your trauma is not valid. Your trauma doesn't exist. I'm gonna diagnose you because I know better. Do you know how incredibly violent that is? And I've had that happen multiple times on my channel where I have shared things about my trauma, things about my burnout, only to be told it's just ADHD. Do you know how incredibly erasing and violent that is? Because it is. And it erases the existence of autistic people who don't have ADHD. Because yeah, guess what? We exist. 30 to 50% of autistic people do not have ADHD. That doesn't count for nothing. So stop invalidating people. And I've not only seen that on my channel, I've seen that on other people's channels as well. And actually that is what prompted this short, is that I saw it on another person's channel. And you know what? I was expecting the comment. I was looking for it because I knew it was going to be there. Even though the person has never mentioned having ADHD anywhere, and she explicitly mentioned it being trauma in her video, I knew there was going to be, it's ADHD kind of comments. And it pisses me off, and that's why I wanted to make this video. And it's not a good idea to make videos in the spur of the moment when you're like, you know, but I'm tired of this. It makes me feel like my reality is erased every time I express something that could be interpreted as ADHD. Because guess what? Yes, some people without ADHD experience executive dysfunction. Some people without ADHD experience problems with attention and things like that, because those can be caused by trauma, those can be caused by autistic burnout, those can be caused by physical health issues, and so many other things. ADHD is not the only explanation and the only answer. And by constantly repeating that to people who have said explicitly, I do not have ADHD, is so invalidating. And to be honest, it reflects the things that happen to a lot of us when we get diagnosed late as autistic. People saying, no, you're not autistic. You're just lazy, awkward, weird. It is the same thing. It's people saying, I know better than you. That's not what you have. I'm going to tell you what you have. Do you know what that is? That is invalidation. That is erasure. So stop doing that. Because it makes people like me not want to share our experience anymore. Because it's going to be dismissed as, this person has ADHD, she doesn't want to admit it. No, I don't. Stop saying other creators have ADHD when they haven't expressed that they haven't even talked about anything else that could be ADHD. It's just this one thing that could be so many different things. And you're just choosing to look at it through the lens of ADHD, okay? I'm not targeting any one person in particular because I've seen these kinds of comments from many different people. But if that's you, please stop doing that. Like, I think in the autistic community, there is enough content about ADHD and ADHD for people to know what it looks like and for people to know if they have it or not, or suspect if they have it or not. I don't think we need to rub it in people's faces, especially when they're talking about something vulnerable like trauma or autistic burnout. Like, please respect them. Stop imposing your truth or your perspective on other people, because that's what it is. It's projection. Okay, I'm gonna stop here.